KayFabe Smark Podcast.
Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rampa, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Hey, this is the KayFabe Smark Podcast. This is a Sunday we're coming at you because, well, Thursday was Turkey Day, and we took a week off, or a Thursday off, and now we're going to get this done on Sunday. This is episode 79 of the KayFabe Smark Podcast. We're going to talk professional wrestling. We're going to talk Survivor Series. But first, we're going to talk to Mr. Eric Todd. Eric, what is happening in your world?
Oh, you know, same old. As you mentioned before, Thanksgiving was this week. Hung out with my son for the most part. Neither one of us are really into turkey, so I made gourmet-ass burgers and a bunch of sides to go with them and everything. So we had a really good Thanksgiving. How was yours?
Turkey Day with the family, hung out, in-laws, did the whole thing, and that was that. Today, on Sunday, we drove down to Toledo, Ohio, went to the Toledo Zoo, and froze our butts off walking around the zoo in 30-degree temperatures looking at Christmas lights. So that's how we spent our Sunday, late afternoon, evening. So that's that. But now we're home, showered, warm, ready to talk wrestling. But what do you got for us? Do we have any news on the docket there, Mr. Eric Todd?
We do have news. A lot of news since it's been an extended minute since our last broadcast here. So slap that ticker and we'll get right back into it.
This is the news. We're about 10 days out from our last news segment. Let's see what is new in the news. Eric, what do you got for us?
All right, a lot of things going on. First things first, my boy Walter from NXT UK, he might be coming over to the United States, Brian.
Oh, boy.
I'm pumped about that. It's been known for a long time that Walter has had zero interest in working for WWE in the United States. But as of recently, Walter and his wife have split up, and he's been dating NXT UK star Jenny. Walter is no longer affiliated with WXW in Europe, and he no longer works his day job as management for a logistics company. So got a lot more free time on his hands, and now he's a little more open to coming over to the United States. So that would be huge for the wrestling business if we could get Walter over here and real WWE, so to speak.
Does he think he's going to come over and work for, like, the main roster, the Monday Night Raw, SmackDown? Is he looking at AEW, Impact? Is he just, or is, like, when he says coming to wrestle in the States, is there any word on what that means exactly?
Well, I'm pretty sure he's still under contract with WWE in some way or form. So I would expect him to be on the main roster. There's no way he would fit in with that NXT, but who knows? Vince is clearly out of his mind, as we saw this week on Survivor Series, but a lot of speculation going on with Walter, and I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I wasn't sure with all the mass executions that we've had in WWE and the head's been rolling. I didn't know if he was even still a contracted employee there or not, but he'll fit somewhere, I'm sure. I mean, he'd fit anywhere. He's a great wrestler, good worker. It's weird to hear that he has a day job, right? That he's actually out he has a shoot job and he's got to go out and get things done.
Yeah, NXT UK must not be paying too many pounds over there where he's got to work at a logistics company too, but fuck it, make that money, Walter.
Walter Cronkite, you can host the news.
Why was Hit Row released from WWE? They released a little more information on that. Dave Meltzer on his Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that Top Dollar seemed to be a pain in the ass backstage. The quote is, while he came across well on television, he rubbed a ton of people the wrong way in NXT and was getting the same reputation on the main roster. Meltzer noted that Vince McMahon saw Top Dollar as the star of the group, and Isaiah Swerve Scott and Ashanti the Adonis were likely just caught in the crossfire of the firing. So since then, Top Dollar released a rap song in response. I didn't listen to it, but supposedly he talks about his 90-day non-compete clause and mentions AEW, MLW, and ROH.
Well, there you go. Funny you mentioned that. While we were getting things set up here, I was listening to scrolling through TikTok at the same time, and a gentleman on there was making some accusations. Sorry, easy for me to say, that Hit Row was released because when they got cut, and then they went re-recorded a theme song that didn't mention what was the first girl that got cut? I forget.
Shit, I can't remember her name. I couldn't remember it when we said it.
It was right on the tip of my tongue nonetheless, and then supposedly that it was like you went against us, and there was all this speculation. I think your story makes way more sense. That the people just weren't seen as the top guys, and things got shuffled around, and they just got cut. Somebody's made his accusations was that after they got cut, we re-recorded a song, we did it without WWE saying this, and this was how they... It's like, no. They can go record all the songs they want. Who cares? WWE's not going to put it on their product, so go re-record your theme song. WWE doesn't like it. It's their show. That's not going to make them fire you because you recorded something. So it was a silly comment on this gentleman's behalf.
Yeah, long story short, Top Dollar was a pain in the ass, and we don't need the rest of the group without Top Dollar, so bye-bye.
Hit the bricks.
Tony Khan has been doing some interviews, and I got a quote from Tony Khan here explaining why his contracts are better than WWE's, and I quote, "There is a lot more security with a contract here. I can't say I'm going to extend every contract or bring every person back, but I also haven't been doing mass layoffs. I'm not the most profitable company of all time. I don't brag about being the most profitable company of all time. I do brag about bringing in a lot of revenue for a startup and being a real success story." So Tony Khan throwing shade, saying he honors his full contracts and there's security if you sign a contract with AEW.
Yeah, I had read something. It might have been the same interview, but just a little more detail on like what I had read from this. Is that the way that he stated it was, and this makes sense to me. He goes, you sign a 5-year contract there, you have to work for them for 5 years. But if they don't want you there for 5 years, they fire you in a year and a half. So there is no contract. It's a one-way contract.
Yeah, Cornette explained it perfectly. There's all these clauses that are in a WWE contract. They'll sign you for 25 years, but every 90 days they can review your contract. So after 90 days, if they decide we don't want you, then skedaddle.
So I think that, the guys and the girls sign these contracts. So either they're signing it and not knowing what they're signing, or they're signing it going, well, I'm the best. They're not going to cut me every 90 days. But you would think these people should start to put in their contract, I can review my contract every 90 days. And I can split with no repercussions against me. That would be the smart thing to put in there, that same clause against them. But it's interesting. It sucks when you do get hired for something and you're like, cool, I got a 5-year, 10-year gig. And every 90 days you're on the...
Yeah, King Woods actually speculated on that too. And he knows he's under a contract. He's under a long-term contract, but he knows he can pretty much get cut anytime. And his feeling on it was, oh, well, I got other shit to do. There's other places to be. If they want to cut me, cut me.
Well, he's been a smart one since day one. He was going to school and college at the same time, earning a doctorate and all this stuff. So he's going, listen, this shit ain't going to last forever. So I'm going to make a name, make some money, sell some merchandise. I got an education. Things go weird. I'll start teaching college. I don't know, whatever. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Ric Flair, we know he was criticizing AEW for signing CM Punk and Bryan Danielson because they really haven't, long-term wise, kept the ratings up for AEW. But Ric Flair has kind of turned over a little bit. He has since tweeted to CM Punk, "Never forget this moment. We can make history again, brother. If you want a rating, let us talk for 10 minutes. So Ric Flair's out there trying to get a on-air promo, a little exchange, a little CM Punk MJF type thing with himself and CM Punk. Get a little exposure out there.
Yeah, I think Mr. Ric Flair is hurting from not being in the spotlight of the business, and Kind of had a slight nervous breakdown a little bit on Twitter a couple weeks ago when he was talking about wanting his championship back, and I think it's the one that he was supposedly so proud that he gave to Triple H, his old NWA championship that he gave to Triple H, and now he's like, they want to erase me from history. I want this back. Give me back my belt. And threw a tantrum online. So it's like, come on, guy. 1 minute you're ranting and raving about how Vince McMahon and Triple H treated you the best, but it was just time to do something different, and now you're throwing a fit, and now you shit on AEW, you want in at AEW. This guy doesn't know how to not be Ric Flair, does he?
He keeps his name coming out of our mouths, and that's probably one of his goals. So
there you go.
Yeah, props to you, Ric Flair. Hopefully you do get on TV. I'd love to see CM Punk and Ric Flair go at it on the mic. I don't want to see his old ass get it put in a go to sleep. His ass go to sleep permanently.
Go to sleep, old man. Go to sleep.
Some trouble in paradise with wrestling couples this week. First things first, Bully Ray and Velvet Sky have called it quits. They said it was an amicable split. They don't hate each other. They wish each other well, but they're no longer together. They were dating since 2016, and at one point they were engaged.
Well, interesting. Didn't know they were together. Now they've already broken up. I just learned two things at once, that they're together and now they're not together.
And then the other one is purely speculation, but a lot of people have noticed that Andrade is no longer following Charlotte on Twitter, and Charlotte is no longer following Andrade on Twitter. Charlotte still follows Andrade on Instagram, but obviously the internet loves to talk, so them unfollowing each other on Twitter has caused tons of speculation, thinking that maybe Charlotte and Andrade have split. They haven't been photographed together since September, so who knows? The only thing that would upset me about that is I really wanted Charlotte Flair to come to AEW.
Yeah, that would hold that back. My comment on this whole thing is, okay, I know literally how you know somebody isn't following on Twitter. I understand you can go look and see who they're following, but who is monitoring this?
People got way too much time on their hands.
Like, who thought about, you know what I should do? I should pop on there and see who Charlotte Flair is following. Oh, she's not following Andrade. Really? It went the other way, too? Maybe WWE said they couldn't follow. Maybe, who knows?
That was my immediate thought, that WWE was probably like, you can't be following AEW people on your Twitter account, because WWE controls all that shit.
Right. So there's about 1,000 different reasons why that this could have happened, and but to even have it set up, like they got a Google alert that they got unfollowed. Like every person that Charlotte unfollows, they get a ding in their email box. Did you know Charlotte unfollowed referee? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and again, WWE owns Charlotte Flair. Who knows? Ashley Flair might have her own Twitter account, and maybe she follows them.
Yeah, who gives a shit? First off, who cares? We'll move on. I could care less. Double time.
Yeah. It's like we're watching the fucking Kardashians here. Kenny Omega, everybody knows he's out of action due to a shoulder injury that might require some surgery. So in the meantime, he has vacated his AAA Mega Championship. And to be honest with you, Brian, I didn't know he still had it.
I don't think AAA knew he still had it. They were probably going, oh shit, we that's ours. I forgot we even had that belt. So
yeah,
who cares?
Apparently that's big news, but yeah, I didn't know about it.
It'd make bigger news for me, anything AAA, if there was a way to get it into the States and if you can get it, even if you got it online, if they had an English feed. I would watch it. I'm a wrestling geek. I would watch it at an English feed. I tried to watch it before in Spanish, and I'm like, eventually it just makes me dizzy because I don't know what they're saying and what's happening.
No habla español.
Yeah, pick up every about 40-second word.
The biggest news of this week, or seem to be all over the news, all over the morning radio shows and whatnot. On Monday's Raw, a fan jumped the barricade and attacked Seth Rollins after Seth Rollins got into his little skirmish with Finn Balor. Turns out it was a 24-year-old fan named Elijah Spencer, and he said he attacked Seth Rollins to help Finn Balor. He's a big fan of Finn Balor. He likes his aura, his attitude. He likes everything about Finn Balor, so he wanted to help Finn Balor. And also, this fucking idiot, was part of a catfishing scam where some guy was posing as Seth Rollins and conned him out of a bunch of gift cards. This guy acting like Seth Rollins asked him for gift cards, and he said he would help this guy's career. This Spencer fella claims he spent around $3,000 in gift cards to the person who he thought was Seth Rollins, but the check he received in return bounced. And people are fucking idiots, bro. Like,
Seth Rollins needs Amazon gift cards. Bro, I'm Seth Rollins. Send me Amazon gift cards. Okay. Like, what made it?
I'll help your career. Maybe this dickhead wanted to be a wrestling fan or wanted to be a pro wrestler.
He should have wanted to be a wrestling fan first.
Yeah. And then in the same show, another idiot was escorted out of the arena by security because he was talking trash to the wrestlers in the lumberjack dark match that was going on.
Uh-oh. You can get kicked out for talking trash.
Well, I guess something he said during this dark match. Montez Ford didn't really care. He ignored him. But MVP and Sami Zayn got really offended by whatever this guy said. And it still hasn't come out. I dug. I researched. Couldn't find out what this guy said. But whatever it was, MVP and Sami Zayn got his ass kicked out.
They were in Brooklyn. He could have said, bing bong, fuck your life.
Fuck your life. Artist formerly known as Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, has been announced as the first guest for WrestleCon 2022. WrestleCon will take place March 30th through April 5th, with over 200 guests set to appear. So it'll be pretty cool to see Bray Wyatt out and about making public appearances again. And maybe by then we'll know where he's actually going to fucking end up.
Yeah, rumor has it he's working on a movie that he got involved with. And Bray's going to figure out that this private sector of pro wrestling that he can go out and charge, I can get how much to sit at a table and sign autographs and take pictures instead of beating my body up and wearing a rubber mask? This is wonderful. I can do this every weekend.
Yeah. He can make him, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, whatever you want to call him, could make a ton of cash just signing shit.
Especially right now. He's so hot right off the market, right off the WWE scene. So, hey, take your money while you can. Sweep it up off the table.
Speaking of hot guy, Scotty Too Hottie has asked for his release from WWE. Do you think you would hear that in 2021?
Actually, I saw this sweep by my eyeballs on the Instagram, and I didn't know where he was. I didn't know he was a producer or trainer at the NXT facility, but that makes sense. And doesn't surprise me that he bounced after being there from like its original formations of NXT to what it's become. That he was like, nah, I got to go.
I'm not going to read his long ass quote, but it comes down to he loves wrestling. He never wanted to get to the point where he was working just for the paycheck. And with what NXT's become, he's just doing it for the money, and it's a wrap. He's out the gate.
Gotta scoot.
Sad story and wrestling news here. John Arezzi of Pro Wrestling Spotlight has provided a health update on Terry Funk. John Arezzi's quote is, "He's in assisted living. I spoke to him earlier this year and he had a hard time remembering and he snapped back in. I was trying to get him on one of these Pro Wrestling Spotlight live shows that I did on YouTube. I talked to him but I knew just after that conversation that it wasn't going to happen because he was just in the middle of conversation and he goes, 'Am I John? Who are you?' He didn't really remember very much, but when I was with Mick Foley not too long ago, a couple weeks back here in Nashville, he had talked to Terry recently and said Terry was sounding better. He's getting the care he needs, and it looks like Terry Funk is fighting as always. And he's doing his best just to remain cognizant and just to be the legend that he is, and we wish him the best."
Sad stuff, but, you know, he's put his body through a lot of shit, so he's beating himself up, but you just hope he goes out in Terry Funk fashion is all I can say. You know,
I mean,
I don't
He's
wish
100
him.
years old. I don't think he's going to be in any exploding rings, which is probably the way he'd like to go out.
Well, I'm just saying he doesn't. You just hope that he just can kind of just, go home and take care of his horses, as he always said when he bailed out on WWE. But just to go out in a nice, clean way and just, hopefully it's easy. You hate to see a painful, long, strung out death. Unfortunately, he's dying.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened months ago with Paul Orndorff, and hopefully Terry Funk doesn't have to go through that same shit. That was sad. Johnny Gargano, his future with WWE is still pretty much in the air. His official contract has already ended, or it's coming to an end really soon, and he signed just a very short extension just to get him through War Games, and then from there, it's who knows. Sounds like AEW is interested in Johnny Gargano.
I mean,
I don't think he's too bad. He's a little boring, but looks like he's weighing his options right now. He's just signed through War Games, and that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought to me. Not just the short-term contract signing to me was always interesting, where it's like, you're not interested in me in long term, but I'll do this for you. I don't know. I would almost seem like if you really wanted to stay with maybe he wants to stay with the company, so that's his way of saying, hey, I'll stay for the short term. Because it's just always interesting to me. If you really wanted to stay, you'd be like, sign me long term or I'm out, and really screw their War Games pay-per-view.
Right. Well, it sounds like WWE wants him to stay. They've offered him a longer contract, but he's just kind of procrastinating. Just getting through this pay-per-view, giving himself some time to think.
Grass is always greener, because you think from this side of things, right, sitting here, like WWE wanted to pay us something to do something in wrestling, we'd be like, yes, sign it! And then once you're there, they're like, meh, I don't know. I don't want to know. They just bounce. It's interesting to me.
And finally, our last story on the report here, speaking of contracts, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, have signed a long-term deal, re-signing their contract with AEW, and they will be with AEW at least through 2026. So the Bucks will be around for a hot minute. They'll be in their 40s by then, won't they, Brian?
Something like that, at least. They're close to in our age range here, so I think they're a little younger than you. I'm 38. I think they're within right in here. Right where we're at, 38, 37, 35, something like that.
So, yeah, but seems like they take care of themselves. They don't really get injured too often, so we will be seeing a lot of the Young Bucks through 2026.
Was it really a surprise that the Young Bucks signed a contract with AEW? Like, what are they going to do? They've shit so much on WWE over the years. They're not going to take them.
No, WWE wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
Or if they took them, they would take them and put them on the shelf.
Right.
And, and then they would be called something else, the Jackson boys or something, because the Young Bucks wouldn't sign the rights over to that.
Right.
So it'd be a big calamity, and they're going to go to Impact. We've left AEW. We started AEW 2.5 years ago. We've signed with Impact.
Well, pretty much, if Tony Khan didn't want them, they'd be fucked. They would be an Impact. And they'd be back to where they were, what was that, 3 years ago?
Wrestling pro wrestling gorilla and go try to get back in with New Japan. It'd be a shit show. So yeah, I mean it's kind of their company in a sense. And I know it's not 100% theirs, but you would think they got to stay around for a while.
And that is the news, Brian. A little long-winded this week, but like I said, it's been 10 days. So slap that ticker, and then we will move on.
That was the news. Bray Wyatt's doing stuff. We've got contracts. We've got Twitter allegations of people leaving people. Good Lord, what's happening in the world today? That's the news. Let's move on here. All right. We're moving on. Play a little of what we like to call... What the hell do we call this?
I don't know which one you're about to announce.
Wow. Would you rather is the one I was going to do, and I just completely brain farted. We're just going to stick to one this week. We're going to do a little would you rather. This one was a fun one.
Right. Look at that. New background.
New gimmick. A little would you rather gimmick going on there for Eric's background. We're going to do bad gimmicks. Would you rather, bad gimmicks, and you're going to have to pick one. This would be who would you want to run with, and what kind of gimmick would you want to keep? Would you rather be, who would you rather run with, and what kind of gimmick would you want to run with? And what kind of gimmick would you want to run with? And what kind of gimmick would you want to keep? Would you rather, bad gimmicks. This would be who would you want to run with, and what kind of gimmick would you want to keep? the Red Rooster or the Repo Man?
Oh, God. The Repo Man was over like a motherfucker for a quick second. And I believe that's Barry Darso from Demolition.
Yes.
But I think Terry Taylor, he was saddled with a bad gimmick, the Red Rooster, but I think he could have really turned that thing around. I think if it was Stone Cold Steve Austin that they called the Red Rooster, he would have owned that shit. So I can't do the Garbage Man, Repo Man job gimmicks. So I would go Red Rooster all the way, man. Make it your own.
Yeah, see, what I always took the Red Rooster as is a spin-off of, like, the Nature Boy. Ric Flair, Buddy Rogers, etc., and so on were the Nature Boy, right? They weren't literally, like, out there like Mother Nature, like,
Like Jungle Boy.
Yeah. So he should have been like Red Rooster, the cock of the walk, the head motherfucker, like gone out there but no, he took it as a literal rooster and like clucked his head when he walked and looked like an asshole. So he really did a bad thing with that gimmick himself.
Yeah, he really burned it to the ground.
Number 2, bad gimmicks. Would you rather? Would you rather be Nails or Disco Inferno?
Oh, man. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Brian. When I was a kid, I was absolutely terrified of Nails. Nails, to me, was the best gimmick. I thought he was going to be a star. So just because from the childhood trauma alone, Brian, I'm sticking with Nails on this one. He's intimidating. He's mean. And it looked like he was going to murder anyone who got in the ring with him.
Not going to lie, Eric, I have the same remembrance of Nails myself. I remember in the Royal Rumble of that year, probably would have been 92, 3, something like that, 4. Yokozuna was the guy that was going to win the Royal Rumble that year. It was clear, like he was going to win it. And we were I remember cheering, going, Nails still hasn't been in the Royal Rumble yet. He can eliminate Yokozuna. He's so bad. But no, he wasn't in it, and Nails wasn't my guy. Bet on the wrong horse with that one.
Nails stunk, to be honest, as a real wrestling fan. But when we were kids, Nails and Papa Shango will give you nightmares.
Would you, speaking of Papa Shango, his distant cousin here, would you rather be the Boogeyman or Eugene?
Oh, Boogeyman all the way. It is gimmicky as fuck. It's goofy. It's silly. But the Boogeyman rocked it, dude. He held on to that gimmick, and he ate the worms. He went full on with it. Eugene was a great talent, great performer, but that gimmick just weighed him down, man. And although he had a lot of love from the fans, he didn't have quite enough. He just looked like a complete goof out there.
Would you rather be Oz? If you remember Oz, think about to WCW, Kevin Nash dressed up like the Wizard of Oz, or Zeus?
Ooh. I'm going with Zeus on this one, Brian, and I'm going with Zeus for the same reason I went with Nails. I don't care if it was WWE. I don't care if it was No Holds Barred, the motion picture. Zeus terrified me. The Z cut into his hair terrified me. Tiny Lister, R.I.P. Couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper bag, but he was scary as shit. So I'm going Zeus. Oz never really did it for me.
No. Plus the stories of Kevin Nash having to cart around the big gimmick of that hat and the trunk and everything sound like a big pain in the ass, wearing a rubber mask. Last one. Would you rather be Isaac Yankem or the Shockmaster?
Ooh. Oh, this is the worst one, Brian. This is, do you want to drown yourself or light yourself on fire? But I'm going with Isaac Yankem just because Vince would be in my corner, because Vince loves job gimmicks, real life job gimmicks, and which I said I would never want to do one, but I think Vince thought the dentist was the scariest thing in the world, so he would be behind you 100%. I think Kane's or Glenn Jacobs' Jerry curl might have cost him success on that gimmick. I think someone else could have did it.
And in the chat here, we had one pop up from Jade Schmidt says, would you rather watch the Survivor Series again or take an F5 from Brock Lesnar every day for the rest of your life?
Oh, my fucking God. This Survivor Series, Brian, was absolute torture. Torture would be the great word for the Survivor Series. So I'm taking an F5 from Brock Lesnar every day. At least you get to spend some quality time with the guy, even if it's only 5 seconds a day. And you're in the hospital.
You're in the hospital. You get to live in the hospital. So there you go. There's your Would You Rathers this week. And leading into that, we're going to talk Survivor Series. We know it was a week ago, people, but, Thanksgiving got in the way. We're still going to sit here and BS about it for a little bit. Once again, guys, hop onto all of our social media platforms. That's TikTok, Instagram. Join us here on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe when we go live. You can jump in the chat and hang out with us as we have some people popping in the chat right now. So, Eric, we're going to talk about and break down Survivor Series.
We are, and my dumbass forgot to make an image for Survivor Series, so we are going with NWO today.
The NWO for life. All right, so Survivor Series pay-per-view last week. It's been a week since this thing happened, and, I guess we'll just start it off and lead us through this dance, buddy.
All right, Survivor Series 2021 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. We had a pre-show match on this one, which I did not watch, but it was Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Damian Priest. I got a list of a few of these matches and who produced them, so I'll sprinkle that in as we go through. This particular match was produced by Abyss. And did you watch this thing, Brian?
I did. I was home and flipped it on and watched it live, and it was on. This match was good. This match was very entertaining. I like both wrestlers, so that's an easy sell for you once you're in and invested with both wrestlers. I had no investment into the storyline, as it gets very watered down with these mid-card titles these days, but it was a weird spot. I thought that they put it on very early. I didn't think this should have been a pre-show match, especially after I got into the meat and potatoes of Survivor Series. I thought they could have mixed that around easily and threw something else on the pre-show. But if you're trying to hook somebody in, you might give them a decent match in the, quote, pre-show. So I understand why you would give them a pretty decent match in the beginning to hook them in for the long term. So I enjoyed it. It was a good match. I'd say go back and watch it. Nothing to write home about, just a good wrestling match.
All right, just explain this ending to me if you would. All I caught was that Shinsuke Nakamura won by DQ. So what happened at the end there?
You know what? It was the DQ was whack. I remember I hated that. Hold on, let me check up in my notes here real quick and see if I can remember what happened here. Anyways, I can't find. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Anyways, DQ endings is always lazy writing to me.
Yeah. So apparently it was a shit show.
Yeah,
but the performance itself was
itself was good. I forgot that it ended in DQ. I didn't have my notes lined up there, but nonetheless, it was a good. They wrestled good. They gelled well. It was just lazy writing to wrap it up. They didn't know what to do, so they said, make a DQ.
All right, and then we'll get into the main show here. And right from the get-go, we know there is no doubt this thing is a collaboration between WWE and Netflix for their new movie starring The Rock. Red Notice. They pimp the hell out of Red Notice this entire pay-per-view, and it's just shoved right down our throats. And we'll get into Vince and the Egg a little later, but man, I hate these promotional tie-ins and how they just ram it right down your throat. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, we complained a couple weeks ago about AEW and having to watch Being the Elite and having to know what's happening on the internet to know what's going on your weekly cable TV show, right? And I hated every second of that. Let's just carry that same conversation right over to WWE, because that was this. If you didn't watch the movie, hadn't heard of the movie, didn't know what the movie was about, and guess what? At that moment in time I watched this, I had no clue what that movie was about. Didn't even know there was a movie out until after it was done. And I think it's that to make any sense of this, we had to have watched a movie on Netflix that has no association with WWE to understand what parts of this show we're talking about. But I did learn in the later days that they were offered, from what the internet is reporting, $1 million to be in support of the movie. So the movie, Netflix, whoever was the promoter of it, WWE, they were in bed. They gave WWE $1 million to do this whole egg gimmick. So I guess if somebody's gonna give you $1 million, I'll fucking carry an egg around too.
Yeah, I'll carry a regular ass Eggland's best egg around if you give me $1 million. I'll treat it like it's my child.
Yeah, it's that. But yes, that sucked that you had to know what was going on in a movie to make heads or tails of this.
Well, getting into the show, our first match of the main show is the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch taking on the SmackDown Champion Charlotte Flair. This match, Brian, was produced by Tyson Kidd. I thought he did a damn good job.
Yeah, I was surprised they put this match on as early as they did too.
Yeah, this match was fantastic in my eyes. This is a rivalry that WWE is doing correctly. Whether it's all shoot, whether it's all a work, whether it's a mix of both, they're all over social media with things. People are talking about it outside of wrestling. It comes off like these two really despise each other, and they really let that shine in this match with a lot of brawling. Right off the get-go, they're just brawling, and you get the sense, you get the feeling that these two girls hate each other.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job too. I've seen speculations online of, is it a work? Is it not a work? Is it a mix of a work? And my theory is it's a mix of work, as you were speaking about earlier. I think there's a mix of reality mixed with a bit of wrestling. There's a little shooting work in there, and they're working it out on TV, and they're using this for natural heat, natural energy that can be translated to putting butts in seats.
Right. And we've talked about this before. It's not just Becky Lynch. There's tons of girls backstage that just Charlotte Flair seems to rub them the wrong way. But I feel it's justified because she's the best female worker in the business, in my opinion. So she can be an asshole backstage. She's earned that right.
She's earned the right. If you want that spot, she has that attitude to me where it's, if you want the spot, come take it. And I'll be the best, and I am the best, and she's a Flair. She can, she's learned from her dad, right? She's, fuck you, woo! If you want it, come take it.
Did you not see my last name? Go fuck yourself. Fuck your life. These two, they're either working extremely stiff or they are complete masters of their art, because these punches, these kicks, these forearms, they're laying them in and they look rough. Charlotte at one point is on the top turnbuckle and gets shoved off to the outside of the ring, and she's selling the shit out of her knee, which I think might have been legit, because if it was a work, she would have continued selling it throughout the rest of the match, which she did not.
So you're thinking that was an actual hurt knee for a second there, or a little stinger of the knee, because it wasn't a long-term story told inside the match, which makes sense. That could very well be.
Right. She's too much of a professional to just stop selling something. So she probably caught a stinger, probably tweaked her knee a bit, but I was interested to see if she was going to keep selling it, and she didn't. We got Becky holding Charlotte's arm at one point. Charlotte completely muscling up Becky Lynch from the mat and slamming her down for a pin attempt. I love shit like this. You're used to seeing Rhea Ripley doing it. Raquel Gonzalez, them doing it. The big, strong chicks that can lift a fucking car if they wanted to. But Charlotte Flair is not really a muscle-bound girl. She just looks like a regular female performer out there. So I love seeing that shit when she can just muscle up a full-grown woman. Becky Lynch isn't that big, but just slam the shit out of her down in that mat. I love strength moves coming from the females.
Yeah, it's something you don't get a lot of, and when it's sold right too, right? So meaning that it doesn't look like it was being 100% helped with, where Charlotte and it's not being, where they're jumping into a move and these big power moves are set up to be fake, where it just looks like they muscled through it and crushed that person.
Right. Becky Lynch was flat on her back with her arms and her feet in the air. So there was no way she was helping out with this thing. Charlotte just yanked her right up. Um, so what we've seen, I don't pay too much attention to the WWE product, but what I've seen of the recent Becky Lynch is she's supposedly a heel, but Charlotte is a definite heel. So I was interested to see how the dynamic would work in this thing. Charlotte's definitely the heel in this match. Dirty tactics, laughing, mocking Becky Lynch, just being a cocky ass heel in there. And Becky Lynch is getting a ton of sympathy, selling her ass off in there. So in this match in particular, Becky Lynch is just straight up babyface, which I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna muddy the waters in her quest to be a heel in the company.
In this particular one, you have to run Becky as baby and Charlotte as heel. It has to happen that way. It's just the way it's going to go. The crowd favorite is going to be Becky Lynch, and Charlotte's going to be heel all day long, right? I mean, how else do you run that?
Right.
I think Becky can be your Stone Cold Steve Austin babyface, though, and steal a page from that book where they can be the anti-hero, good guy, bad guy. You never know which way they stand, but they're going to do things on their own term type babyface. And that's the way I can see her being able to work it and come out of this, to go back heel or to go back babyface. She can kind of ride that flip-flop of the better of two evils, if you will.
Yeah, if anyone can do it, it's Becky Lynch. She can go from a heel 1 week to a baby face in a particular match, just because Charlotte is such a dirty fucking heel that, there, like you said, there's no way Becky could be a heel in this match. But yeah, I was just wondering if it would muddy the waters. But if anyone can transition right back into a heel next week, it's Becky Lynch.
The only thing that will muddy the waters is if she turns into a heel that shits on the audience. Meaning if she comes out and she's like, I don't do this for you, I'm not here for you, then you can't do that back and forth thing. But if you're just a heel to the person you're working opposite of, and then you can be a babyface of the person you're working opposite from, the crowd will kind of stick with you either way. But if you become that person who's like Charlotte, who's like, I don't work for you people, I'm the best, and bop, 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 and you're going to talk shit to the crowd, that's when you can't flip-flop anymore. So if she keeps it clean this way, she'll be all right.
For sure. And the unsung hero in this match, Brian, is Charlotte's kicks. The boots to Becky Lynch's face are landing clean. Becky is selling the living shit out of them. Charlotte keeps going back to the kick, the big boots, Hulk Hogan style, and Becky's eating them for lunch. And it's working. They look stiff. They look clean. And Becky's selling the shit out of them. So I was feeling Charlotte's kicks for sure.
The thing that I liked about Charlotte's kicks was that she was selling them as she's delivering them. Charlotte has a way of selling moves that she's delivering, which is a thing that you don't really see so much of. Meaning, when she throws a clothesline or she goes for a kick, she's selling it with lots of screaming, like power, like she's really trying to kick a hole in your chest. And that's what you need, obviously, but it gives you that sense of like, wow, did she really kick that? Is she kicking that hard? She's screaming. She does, like, she's very famous for getting, like, spit kind of coming out of her mouth and screaming. You know what I'm saying? That, like, the intensity is sold. Same thing, she does a moonsault at some point during this match where she comes off the top rope to the outside in the way that she sticks that moonsault and throws that elbow in there and sells it as best she can when she comes off, screaming that she's the best into the camera and everything like that. And this is my show, and I'm here, and I'm the real champion. She sells it all that way as well. So, Charlotte's all around well-rounded.
Yeah, definitely. That moonsault came shortly after that. After this flurry of kicks here, and again, just like you said, just to accentuate that, she sells everything, and she's all intensity, and she's such a fucking bitch in that ring against her opponent. That, as a fan, you can't help but hate her, but as a artist, as a professional wrestler, you can't help but love her, man. Charlotte ends up getting the disarmor on Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch gets to the ropes. Charlotte rolls Becky up using the ropes for leverage, ends up getting caught. And this got a little sloppy, Brian, because right after the ref makes Charlotte Flair break the pin for using the ropes, Becky Lynch rolls Charlotte up and very awkwardly at the last minute kind of leans on the ropes during the pin, but the ref counts the 1, 2, 3 anyway, and the announcers are selling it like she got away with murder. The ropes had nothing to do with that pin. It was just, I understand what they were trying to do, but it was sloppy as fuck.
Yeah, they were trying to keep her having that heel gimmick with her to be the win at all costs type bad guy. She was dirtier than the dirtiest player in the game, right? The new dirtiest player in the game, Charlotte Flair. She was dirtier than her that night. I don't know. I think, like you said, it was sloppy. She didn't need it to win. She could have just rolled her up and had the quick pin, and it would have been fine. Got one over on Charlotte.
Like I said, I know what they were trying to do. Oh, look, Charlotte can use this now as leverage as she had to cheat to beat me, but it just wasn't done right. Moving on from there, we keep getting teases that The Rock might show up. They are absolutely busting a nut over the fact that The Rock debuted at Survivor Series 25 years ago. So almost after every match, we're getting a segment featuring The Rock. And we get our first one right here, celebrating his debut 25 years ago with his curly Jerry curl hair and his island uniform coming out as Rocky Maivia, just babyface to the hilt.
Coming out as an island boy.
I'm a just island boy, Rocky Maivia.
That was they kept shoving it down your throats, like, and then you were like, well, he's got to be there. I mean, how can he not be there? Look at all this stuff they're doing. We continue on though.
We continue on. We get a Drew McIntyre package, really putting his career out there from his 2009 debut, where Vince McMahon pretty much said he was the chosen one, and to his release in 2014 after being in 3MB. And then his title run in 2020. So they're really showing off Drew McIntyre here, and he definitely deserves it. And we go from that little package on Drew into the Survivor Series match between Team Raw and Team SmackDown.
So this is a good spot to put this question in for you for this pay-per-view. How do you feel about this whole Raw versus SmackDown, the one night a year where Raw takes on SmackDown? Does this draw you in by any means? Does this draw in a casual viewer? Does this draw in a new viewer? How do you feel about this selling gimmick that they have, the one night a year that these two take on each other?
I mean, you and I, Brian, we've both been watching wrestling for 30, 35 years, something like that. So I don't know if it's just people like us or people who it's our job to analyze this shit, but I don't care. I don't care who's on the SmackDown show. I don't care who's on the Raw show. I don't care about the drafts. To me, they're not competing companies. So I don't really care if Team Raw takes on Team SmackDown and all the rah-rah cheerleading bullshit they do because they're all wearing the same shirt. It doesn't mean anything to me because they all work for Vince McMahon. They all work for Kevin Dunn. They all work for the other Khan, not Tony Khan, but Nick Khan.
Yeah, like, and I agree with you. And the other thing that makes me think of it is like, does it drive a wedge between fans to pick a show? So are you driving people away from one show to another? Do you think, you know what I'm saying? There's some real big marks out there that'll be like, I'm Team SmackDown, and now you're starting to divide it. That's a thought to me. Does that can affect ratings one way or another? Do they, And then the other thought to me on this was, like, why does it matter? Because we get to see these wrestlers take on people all the time. Sasha Banks is on Raw when I flip it on. She'll be on Raw, but she's a SmackDown competitor. Really? Does it matter? So is there a Raw versus SmackDown when they're crossing over shows anyways?
Yeah, it's like they're trying to create their own competition, but they want everybody to watch both shows, which is an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense. I know for a fact it does cause tension with the networks. I know Fox they really push and they really try to get certain stars over on SmackDown. so that they get higher ratings. Obviously, they want all the viewers. They don't give a shit about USA. They don't give a shit about Raw. Raw could tank for all Fox cares. So you do get the networks causing tension within the company of, oh God, we got to put this person on here because she draws ratings.
Yeah, and then it's just weird to me. And then there's no titles at hand, so they're all title versus title. Amazing matches of this champion versus this champion, and these people versus this people, and it's going. There's no titles. There's no chance. Nothing's going to change hands. Why do I care who wins, Roman or Biggie? What do they get out of it? Why do I care who wins Raw versus SmackDown? There's nothing on the line either. So it's not even like they get to draft somebody over if they win. If SmackDown wins, we get to take so-and-so. If Raw wins, we get to take so-and-so, where there's an immediate trade happen. Maybe that could draw a little... It's just there's no investment into caring if one side wins or the other is what I'm really getting at, and what it means for a storyline.
Right. These champion versus champion matches with nothing at stake, they don't really draw me in as a fan. I understand maybe they're going for a lower tier dream match type thing where, oh my God, we would never see these two guys fight. And with the Roman versus Big E, at least they did that correctly with having the head of the table and his little cohorts feuding with the New Day for a while. So that was done correctly. That one drew me in. But yeah, all this stuff, the actual Survivor Series matches and the other champion versus champion, it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
Just another show.
Right. All right. Well, let's continue on. I thought it was a good spot to wedge that question in there. Let's talk about this first traditional Survivor Series match.
All right. We got Team Raw, which is Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Austin Theory, and Bobby Lashley taking on Team SmackDown, which is Drew McIntyre, who we just saw in that promo package, King Xavier Woods, Jeff Hardy, Happy Corbin, and Sheamus. This match was produced by Sean Devari, Adam Pearce, and Shane Helms. So group effort on this one.
This match could have been... They needed a way to speed up the intros on this. Each guy got their own intro with their own music. The whole thing took like 15 minutes to get everybody introduced. It was way too long. I was losing interest and getting bored just by the introductions, that everybody had to have their own thing. Remember back in the day, it was always just the captain's music and then everybody else came out?
Right. And I noticed that when I was holding my finger on the fast forward button. I'm like, holy shit, I've gone through 15 minutes and everybody's still not in the ring yet.
Yeah, that was, I didn't care for that. That part was, it gets boring, it gets long. Like, okay, I get it. Let's just get this thing over with and get things going here. Let's get into some wrestling.
Yeah, and to get things going, we got Kevin Owens in there arguing with Seth Rollins about who's going to start this match. And Kevin Owens / Kevin Steen, no matter where he's at, whether it's Ring of Honor, an indie production, WWE, he's gained the reputation that he's a little difficult to work with, and he lives up to that gimmick here because he starts the match, immediately rolls out of the ring, walks up the ramp, and gets counted out.
I was texting with our good friend of the show, Andrew, and as we were watching this, we were both watching it live, so we were texting back and forth, and I said, wouldn't this be amazing if this was a shoot, and this is how Kevin Owens walks out of the company? Like, goes out for the live pay-per-view, national, worldwide pay-per-view, Barclays Center, thousands of people in attendance, and he's like, I'm out. Just walks out and gets a count out, and the people are like, but you could tell by the reaction in the ring, it was part of the storyline. There wasn't a real calamity of what's happening. But that would have been an amazing little twist if it was just him walking out of the company in the middle of the match.
Yeah, and he's always another one teasing, who knows where I'm going to end up. But we will see for Kevin Owens, and we'll see how that turns out. My thing that I was looking for in this match, Brian, was Austin Theory. He's a young guy. He did great work in NXT. He needs a push. I feel putting him in this match was a great opportunity to let him shine, because the rest of these guys, either they've already had their pushes or they're older than dirt. The only person in this match I really wanted to see shine was Austin Theory, but ended up quite disappointed, especially with him starting things off for Team Raw and ends up just catching a beat down from Xavier Woods, Drew McIntyre, and Happy Corbin right off the bat.
Yeah, there was just... You know what? I've grown weary. In my childhood, for some reason, I really liked Survivor Series, maybe because it was different and you didn't get to see this type of stuff. But this just seemed like a hodgepodge of guys thrown in the ring, and my interest in this match was at about a 2. And just because it didn't have any reason of why I was watching it, like you said, the guys that were in there have either been to the top, on their way up to the top, or on their way down, but they've all been there. There's a few young guys around that are getting their early shine. Xavier Woods is a singles guy with the little King of the Ring push that he's getting. Austin Theory, as you spoke of. But they just get buried around by other nonsense. There's too many guys, and everybody just trying to get their shit in, and again, no investment into the story. So it was a real hard thing for me to really sink any teeth into and really care about,
And yeah, I'm with you on that one. So you go back to our childhood Survivor Series, it was one company, and we've touched on this plenty of times before, where everybody had some sort of beef with a guy across from the ring, or it was tag teams that were put together, or factions that were all kind of hanging out together. This is just, we're going to take 5 dickheads from Raw and have them fight 5 assholes from SmackDown, and and then we'll just hodgepodge it up. But like I said, I was looking for something in this match and I didn't get it. And other than that, this match was pretty much just
forgettable.
People doing moves to each other. Just everybody wants to get their moves in. That was about it. Couple notes from this thing. We get Drew McIntyre. Everyone just kind of disappears from the ring, faking injuries and whatnot, so that we can get our Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley face off. Those two are always entertaining when they're in the ring together. They end up brawling to the outside, and this is the moment, Brian. This is the moment where the referee decides to do their job and immediately counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get the fuck out of here.
Just an easy way to get rid of a couple guys in one 10-second count.
Yeah, it was just the Kevin Owens thing. He just quit right off the bat. These two, you count them out. We're just plowing right through this thing.
I think part of that count out again is lazy booking on how do you keep these guys from being put down, right? How do you keep Bobby Lashley from being eliminated? Well, does that take away the stock of Bobby Lashley? Does it take away the stock of Drew McIntyre from being pinned? And do we want to keep their stock high if we need to bring them back and put them in the championship scene again? Is it going to hurt them one way or the other, or make them one way or the other? So a count out was a cheap way to get out of that, because who do you have pin the other one, right? And what does that mean? So I can see why they would go for a count out, but is it always the best case scenario? No.
Yeah, lazy booking is what it comes down to.
Lazy booking.
You don't want either one of these guys to get pinned or submitted, so we just count them out. And it sticks out like a sore thumb.
100%.
Finn Balor at one point ends up missing a coup de grace on Sheamus, catches a brogue kick and gets eliminated. And this is the point right here. Austin Theory's still in this thing, and they could let him shine a little bit, but we end up just getting a love fest between the two senior citizens in this thing, Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, just jerking each other off, doing each other's moves. It's just, I don't know, just a goof fest with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus.
Do you understand at all, or what's happening, the resurgence of Jeff Hardy? Like, the crowd is all in with Jeff Hardy. Like, this is, 2001. It's crazy.
I don't get it.
I mean, he's good. I mean, he's Jeff Hardy. He has a history of what he did, but like these people that are popping for him probably weren't even born yet when he was at the heights of his career.
Yeah, and they're loving everything. They're the swanton that Jeff Hardy hits on Austin Theory before he gets the pin on it. The crowd erupted. They love them some Jeff Hardy. And to the trained eye, though, you see it's not the Jeff Hardy from 20 years ago. I wish these people could have seen him in the TLC matches with
Edge
with
and Christian,
Ray and Edge and Christian. And this guy, you notice he doesn't really take any bumps until the match is nearly over, where he's going to get pinned or something else. He just kind of works through it and then does a couple bumps, and then it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me. I mean, God bless him. He's getting his little resurgence and his big push back into his career and maybe making a few bucks and selling some merchandise, and life is all right for him. But it's just interesting that it's come full circle for him. He's a guy that's never left my radar, but just to be that guy again, like, I'm not sure if they'll have to do anything with him or not to, the crowd's so behind him that they might have to put him in some type of title shot here.
I mean, so if the crowd is so behind him and this resurgence, this reemergence of Jeff Hardy is coming true, WWE should have picked up on that and let him get this underdog victory. He was fighting from beneath for a long time in this thing, and they teased a Jeff Hardy victory at one point. But instead, Hardy ends up catching Seth Rollins' knees when he attempts a swanton, ends up taking a curb stomp right in the middle of the ring for the loss.
That's that. And it was just the crowd was so behind him that it just surprised me that they didn't roll with something like that. But it was just an interesting fact for me. That was one of the things that I picked up on from this match because there wasn't much else in the match.
Right. And then we go backstage to a video from earlier. We got a limo pulling up, Brian. And who's in that limo? None other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yes, surrounded by a bunch of jobbers that were cheering that their heads weren't on the chopping block when everybody else got fired and they got to keep their job. Thank you for not firing us, and we get to be on the pay-per-view right here, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Vince steps out of the limo looking like a cast member from The Walking Dead. Just looks like a freaking zombie nowadays. And like you said, everybody that he pays popped the minute they saw him come out of that limo. And then Vince reaches in the car and pulls out a golden egg to complete silence. And he has to look at the people who are waiting for him, and he has to tell them to cheer.
Yeah.
And it was the most awkward shit I've seen.
And at this point, I had no clue that this was from a movie. I had no clue that this was from a movie that The Rock was in. I hadn't heard of the movie. Now, I will tell you that over this little Thanksgiving break here, I did watch the movie on Netflix, and it's a pretty funny movie. You got Ryan Reynolds, witty comments, funny jokes. You've got The Rock. What more do you want? You sit back, you suspend disbelief, you watch an action film with some funny jokes in there. Life's all right. You already paid for your Netflix subscription, so enjoy your $11.99 you already spent. So go ahead and watch it. But without watching that and knowing anything about it, I had no clue what the hell this egg had to do with anything.
You just see an 80-year-old man with a golden egg in his hand and
making people cheer.
Yeah. We go right into another video from The Rock, again teasing maybe he'll show up, this time from 23 years ago when The Rock becomes the corporate champion. These little flashbacks, they are entertaining, they're fun to look at, but they just end up meaning nothing because, spoiler alert, The Rock never shows up. He had other shit to do.
Yeah. Rumor has it that travel restrictions, he was in Europe or something along those lines. He's not going to be able to make it back and forth. There was all kinds of stuff, and basically they had known for a while that he wasn't going to be there, and yet they let us believe The Rock could possibly make an appearance. And where would everybody think that he would make his appearance? Well, that would be in the main event situation, right? It'd be a great spot to put him in. But you just get the bone, and all we get that represents The Rock is an egg.
Speaking of the egg, we're going right backstage, Brian, because Seth Rollins is looks like he has been summoned to Vince's office, and this is where we got Vince McMahon with the golden egg and a glass case on his desk, and Vince is showing Roman this egg. It's the real deal. It's not the stage prop. It's Cleopatra's egg given to him by your cousin, The Rock. And it's worth $100 million. Vince appears to be an Alzheimer's patient when he's delivering this performance. There's no other way to look at it.
All it kept making me think of was the Willy Wonka and Veruca Salt, where she's like, "I want a golden goose, Daddy. It lays golden eggs."
Yeah, and apparently this is what Vince has, a big fucking goose egg, a zero. But his comment about the egg being worth $100 million leads Roman right into his reply, almost as much as my next contract. And Vince does his best to show emotion and a reaction on his plastic surgery repaired face, but to no avail.
To no avail. They forgot to install a smile in his plastic surgery face.
Next, Brian, is the Rocks. They actually named it this, Brian.
What did this have to do with anything?
The Rock's 25th anniversary 25-man battle royal.
I don't
Brought
think
to you by Pizza Hut.
Yes. So let's start out. I mean, there is a lot to unpack here with this piece of shit. We are going to talk more about this than is well deserved. First, we'll start off with The Rock and Battle Royals. Was The Rock, and I made this comment to Andrew as we were chatting watching this live, I don't believe he was ever in a Battle Royal unless you want to count a Royal Rumble. At least when they gave Andre his Memorial Battle Royal, Andre was made famous through the years of winning Battle Royals, right? It was a way to put Andre the Giant in something. So when they made that at WrestleMania, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that makes sense. It was something he was involved in. They could have had the 25-man promo contest from The Rock. If you're going to do something that honors The Rock, at least have guys try to cut promos throughout the night, right? And imitate The Rock's promos. But they put him in a Battle Royal. Then it was sponsored by Pizza Hut. It was Pizza Hut, right?
It was Pizza Hut.
And they've got the Street Profits coming out with a pizza, holding a pizza, showing the pizza, placing it on a pedestal, and then the winner is offered pizza. And they give the pizza to the commentators, and then they're like, go get your slice. You want. This thing stunk on ice from the word go.
And they didn't even let you know what was going on. There was no Pizza Hut logo. They didn't put any weird graphics on the screen or anything. We just have, first things first, 25-man battle royal, but a few guys get their entrances, starting out with Sami Zayn and AJ Styles, and they're just walking past tables with Pizza Hut boxes on them. And then we get the Street Profits, who actually come out and hand out pizza and give it to the commentators. Brian Last from Jim Cornette's podcast made a really good point. They're in Brooklyn. They're in New York City.
Pizza.
New York City is known for their pizza, and they are pimping some of the shittiest pizza on the planet right here, Pizza Hut. No one in New York's eating Pizza Hut.
Yeah, nobody in New York's eating corporate pizza, right? They're going to the original Pizza Brothers down on the corner, whatever the name's going to be. Gino's #1.
But just so we know, the announcers make sure we know that this is the triple treat box, Brian, and you get 3 Pizza Hut treats in 1 festive box.
All right. It would have been different if they would have called it the Pizza Hut Food Fight Battle Royal, and they just put some jobbers in there, and you were allowed to hit people with pizzas and stuff and made a mockery of it. They're just sponsored by it. Just got a sponsored break. Just plugged it in. So we've got like an estimated $1 million from Netflix or whoever the promoter is for the movie Red Notice, right? We got a rumored $1 million there for Vince to carry around an egg and do a gimmick there. Do you think it's any less for a Pizza Hut plug in the middle of a match that they got to talk about for 15 minutes or however long this piece of shit Battle Royal was on? So this was just, why not sponsor every match? Just, why didn't we have a Jimmy John's match and a Kotex Pads match? Like,
eventually, that's what we're going to get to when Nick Khan in charge over here. It'll get to it. It'll take a while, but I think at some point, everything's going to have a corporate sponsor slapped on it like a goddamn UK soccer jersey. And it's going to be the Wonder Bread Battle Royale and followed right by the Tampax, the Tampax ladies elimination match.
Tampax tag team.
But this thing, it had a couple cool spots in here. I understood what they were doing in this match. Let's scratch the pizza for a moment. Besides the fact that Ron Killings, R-Truth, this guy is a full-on Iron Man. He is a chameleon to a T. He will fit into whatever position they put him in. Ron Killings is in the middle of this match with 24 people around him, bribing Omos and Otis with pizza, and then we get to see Otis's fat ass chowing down on a slice of pizza right in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, first off, R-Truth could either be 22 or 102. I'm not sure how old this man is. He looks amazing for his age. God bless, and I hope he has a long life because he looks amazing and he's a great comedic actor, if you will. I mean, we can throw him in a comedic actor, right? I mean, this man needs to be in movies. Sketch comedy. Get him on Saturday Night Live. He needs to be entertaining people way more often than he gets his spots on WWE. He needs something because the man's hilarious. Whether it's written lines or not, he delivers them funny. Somebody else could write him for him. I'm not saying he came up with this shit, but he delivers it perfectly.
He's always on, Brian. We can see him in front of 15,000 people at Survivor Series in the Barclays Center, or like you and I, we've seen him in front of 25 people in the middle of a campground. And the guy is just as entertaining no matter what. So, yeah, props to Ron Killings, Iron Man, true to form.
100.
Couple things in this match. Ricochet. I did not know Ricochet was still in the WWE, and the same with Dolph Ziggler, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Ricky O'Shea, the Irishman of the WWE, Ricky O'Shea, is still there. He's survived 2-3 headhunting so far, and I wish they could do something with him. He needs to be doing something more than this match, and I just don't know if the WWE sees it in him. And same with Dolph and his tag team partner there, having a brain fart. I can picture him there, and it's going to drive me nuts. The Top Dogs or whatever they call themselves. But nonetheless, it'll come to me in a half second.
Yeah,
Bobby Roode.
Okay, yeah.
Ziggler and Bobby Roode and Ricky O'Shea don't need to be in this bullshit Pizza Hut tag team or Pizza Hut Rock Royal Rumble Battle Royal match.
And the point of this thing, besides selling pizza, was just to show off Omos. And this was the Omos show through and through as he's just whipping people out of the ring left and right. At one point, we see AJ Styles caught in a tug of war between Omos and Commander Aziz. Another one I didn't know was still around. Omos is forced to let go of AJ, gets credited with his elimination. And then our final two in this match, Omos has 11 eliminations under his belt. And then it is just one-on-one with him and Ricochet. And yeah, I don't think there was too much anticipation, too much wonder on who was going to win this one.
No, I really thought Ricky O'Shea was going to pull it out and stick the win for his Irishman people. But no, he did not. Almost gets the win, and I think they wasted a Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner on a Pizza Hut Battle Royal Rock winner. They could have placed him there, and that could have done something more for Almost than this piece of shit garbage, because they're not going to have this all the time.
No, how many times is The Rock going to be
have a 25-year anniversary?
25th anniversary.
Every 25th anniversary. So what? Maybe at his 50th, and then maybe every 25 years you can get it in? Like, who cares?
And AJ Styles, since his guy almost won this match, AJ celebrating, but Montez Ford puts a stop to that real quick. Kicks AJ Styles, and then just starts flinging cold, limp slices of pizza into the audience. And boy, I wish I would have been there to catch some 2-hour-old cold pizza thrown into the audience.
Yeah, how pissed would you be if just a piece of pizza slaps you in the grill or gets on your fresh new shirt you just bought at the merch stand for $35? You bought a new icy white shirt from the merch booth. It's whatever it is, a Seth Rollins shirt, and you're proud walking around and get some greasy pizza on it. I'd be like, yo, I need some bucks back.
Montez Ford threw it, Brian.
Yeah, Montez Ford can hit the bricks and give me some of his paycheck there.
We get another Rock clip because we haven't had enough Rock in this show from the 25th Rock's anniversary 25-man Pizza Hut Battle Royale. We get another Rock clip from The Rock winning the Royal Rumble, a Battle Royal of all things, 21 years ago.
Yeah, they were really shoving it down. They were really teasing it out, and I'm not gonna lie, they had me hooked. At this point though, they had me hooked in the beginning, but by this point, too, you're starting to go, man, they're really pushing this. Do you think he's going to show? How's he going to show? What are they going to do? They're really hard on all these promos. And they had sold so much that The Undertaker was going to be at his anniversary Survivor Series, right? And they hadn't said by any means that The Rock was going to be there. Maybe they were just hoping The Rock came pulling up last second and surprised WWE and said, hey, I made it, guys. Throw me on the TV. It was
wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking is about right.
Next on our agenda here, we got the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, taking on the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. This thing produced by Shane Helms.
Is that good or bad? What did you think of this match? I know you're such a fan of RK Bro.
So, on one end of this thing, you got Randy Keith Orton, RKO, making history as wrestling the most pay-per-view matches in WWE history, while his partner, Matt Riddle, is shooting pigeons out of his ass.
Well, yeah, we got Randy Orton, who's wrestled more pay-per-views than anybody, and has many more to go, unless he decides to walk away. But physically, he has so many more years left.
Yeah, we're talking first time he's nominated. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame. He would be on anyone's Hall of Fame list anywhere. He's arguably one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now. And his tag team partner is a guy who shoots pigeons out of his ass.
Yes, his CGI promo there is augmented reality. When he gets up and kicks his sandals in the crowd, birds fly out of his ass.
One of our announcers here, I couldn't keep track of them, channels our old buddy Excrement. When Riddle does a simple gut wrench on one of the Usos, we get a look at that Cruellen lock.
I didn't know Cruella DeVille had a lock. Sponsored by Disney Plus.
So now the gut wrench is now a Cruellen lock. Lock that in your memory bank.
Yeah.
Now Riddle, as much as I hate Riddle as a person,
not even as a wrestler, just as a person, I hate him. I hate his family life. His wife. I question why she married him. It's a whole thing with you and Riddle. You guys go way back.
Oh, I think deep about this thing. So at first, on the surface, I was like, I can't stand this guy's fucking gimmick. But as we've watched more and more of them, it's not a gimmick. This is Matt Riddle. And so, yeah, I can't stand him. But he does do some impressive shit in the ring. That springboard corkscrew dive thing that he did, that's pretty dope. He was on point with it. He didn't hurt anybody. He hit his mark perfectly. The guy's talented. I just can't stand his gimmick.
This the bro and like the riding the scooter and all that goofy stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, bad comedy. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's just shit that's been done. Pauly Shore. Matt Riddle's going to come out doing the so yeah.
That'd be dope. He should get Pauly Shore to be his manager.
He's not doing anything else. Why not? This kind of showed off the Usos here. We get to see the Usos mainly just being Roman Reigns' sidekicks here, his goons, his stooges, but these guys are a true tag team, and they show that with Matt Riddle. In fact, unfortunately, Matt Riddle has to eat a lot of shit from the Usos in this match because they just completely keep him isolated, keeping Randy on the outside, and continue to put the boots to Matt Riddle here. The Usos working flawlessly as a tag team.
Boots to asses, to quote The Rock.
At one point, we got Matt Riddle teasing this hot tag to Randy Orton. He teases it for an eternity, and one of the Usos just keeps dragging him back. Orton finally gets what's supposed to be a hot tag, and the audience just flat. For some reason, they gave zero shits that Randy Orton was getting in the ring after milking this anticipation for like 2 minutes straight.
You want to know what? I go back to my comment. Nothing was on the line. What happened if Riddle and RKO lost and Randy lost? Nothing. What happens if the Usos lose? Nothing. Everybody keeps their respective championships and goes home and licks their wounds. It means nothing. What happens if you win? Nothing. Because because it's been already sold to us that this is the one time a year Raw versus SmackDown. Win or lose, this match, this storyline is dead the second the hand hits 3. The ref counts 3. 1, 2, 3. Talk about it next year. Hopefully you're the champions. You guys can get a rematch. If you're not, go fish.
Yeah, good point. We don't got to worry about any type of rivalry stemming from this thing. It's just, like I said, nobody was into it. This match was pretty flat. The only time I really saw the audience pop really hard was Randy Orton out there slamming Jimmy Uso on the announce table. The audience was eating that shit up for sure.
Yeah.
They love the gimmicky stuff.
They'll look at the gimmicky stuff, big spots they're still going to pop for, but the investment in the match that Randy got the hot tag and he can win this thing, it didn't mean anything either way you look at it.
Right. There's no audience investment in this thing. There's no ring psychology that nobody really cares who wins at this point.
Why? Yep. So we continue on, and is there any other spots in this thing that led you to hate it more, to hate Matt Riddle more than you already do? Or to love Randy Orton more than you already do?
Yes. One spot, the ending of this match made me love Randy Keith more than ever, was I was getting so annoyed at him because Randy Orton was outside of the ring selling for God knows how long. It seemed like an eternity, just so Riddle could get his ass kicked in the ring some more. The camera work on this thing was flawless. We thought this match was over. We thought it was a wrap. Jimmy Uso's going to the top rope to splash Riddle. The camera's tight on Jimmy Uso here. Uso leaps off the top rope to splash Matt Riddle and catches an RKO out of nowhere, and it's a wrap. Randy gets the pin.
That RKO out of nowhere, man, if he had done anything, is how he perfected being able to just sneak that in literally out of nowhere. Then the internet gets a hold of it, makes the hashtag. People start making memes and everything else about RKO out of nowhere. It did wonders for his career, just being, but he is so athletic and so precise with it, being able to get that in and get it done. It's amazing. He's so smooth at it. Makes it look easy, right? Makes it look
precise
easy.
Precise and smooth. Yeah. Precise and smooth to a T. So yeah, the ending of this match, that really blew my mind. I loved it. Another Rock clip. We've got The Rock beating John Cena at WrestleMania 28. Again, it's just like, okay, we get it. I don't understand at this point. Why are we on like clip 5 or 6 of The Rock?
Because now it's 100% he's not going to be there.
So just, I don't know. At this point, it's getting pointless. We're back in Vince's office. He's got Adam Pearce sitting across from him, and Vince is just grunting and grimacing. Somebody stole my $100 million egg. The Rock is going to be so upset. Find my egg.
Then they kind of brought me back in for a half second that now The Rock might be there because maybe The Rock was the one that stole the egg. So it did bring me for a half second thinking, well, there could be a storyline with this egg thing. It's The Rock's, by this point I'd figured out it was from the movie. Maybe there was something there. Maybe. And I'm talking about a 3% interest in, like, maybe The Rock was there, that I was like, well, there's a chance.
But Vince, it's just sad to see him at this point. You remember Vince 25 years ago?
Kiss my ass ago. Club and all that jazz. And
he was such a consummate heel. He was such a great character on TV. And he is literally at this point just in his chair, not making eye contact with anybody, and just grunting and grimacing and sounding like Tim the Toolman Taylor. And it's just sad to watch Vince take him off TV. It's a wrap. Just keep him in his office. Give him a fucking fidget spinner to play with to keep his mind occupied.
Put him at gorilla position and let him just yell at the commentators in their ear.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. But it's time to pull Vince. We don't need to see him on TV anymore. We get some weird anime cartoon character type thing I didn't watch. Did you?
I have no idea.
And speaking of things I didn't watch, we've got we've got Team Raw, Bianca Belair,
Oof.
Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina Vega taking on Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Shotzi Blackheart, Shayna Baszler, Natalya, and Toni Storm. This thing produced by Tyson Kidd and Pat Buck.
All right, pass the buck. One of the young bucks, their youngest brother, Pat Buck, is over there.
Patty Buck.
So that they got a Con and a Buck over there at WWE, huh? They're just really just jocking AEW style. I'm not gonna lie. Sunday night watching this, by the time they got all the goddamn entrances done and before the match started, guess what? Your boy was snoring in the recliner.
I caught the tail end of this thing. I love me some Rhea Ripley, man. And I came in right on the tail end when Shayna Baszler put Rhea Ripley out with a knee. And then we're to the point where Bianca Belair is solo, and she's got 4 SmackDown people against her at this point.
Yeah,
the SmackDown people start bickering with Banks, and they won't let Sasha Banks back in the ring, and she ends up getting counted out.
I did go back and rewatch it, or actually watch it. I can't even say rewatch it. It was on while I was in the room. I was snoring. Went back, watched it, and it was, again, the same thing we spoke about with the guys. Why am I watching this? Why do I care? The whole point of this Survivor Series match was to get to the ending, to have Bianca Belair in the ring to bring her stock back up to any value.
Right. You give her the fight from underneath gimmick. It's 4 versus 1. And then just like clockwork, Sasha gets counted out. Then Natalya's out. Then Shayna Baszler's out. And then we're left with Bianca Belair and Shotzi Blackheart here. And we get the KOD for the win. Belair
she's the
defies
EST.
all odds.
She's the EST. She's the best. Or as one of the commentators said, they go, she's the EST when she was the sole person in there. The loneliest. I thought that was pretty funny. That made me laugh.
Another Rock clip. Thankfully, this is our final one of the night here. This is The Rock. When SmackDown made its debut on Fox, The Rock also made an appearance. And, it was a pretty good appearance, but I'm over this shit at this point.
Now, here's the thing. They knew The Rock wasn't going to be there. And by this point, the crowd is, we're picking up on things going, he hasn't made anything. They haven't teased anything. But he couldn't have grabbed his goddamn iPhone and recorded a message to say, hey, 25 years since I debuted. What a ride it's been. See my new movie, Red Notice, on Netflix. He couldn't have taken that time to do that and text that to WWE production, and they could have played that at some point to show that he gave half a fuck.
That is a precise point that I didn't even think of. I knew he couldn't make it due to prior obligations, but he's on a plane or a bus or somewhere with 5G coverage. Of simple video, the audience would have ate that shit up.
A simple video. He always has a video team with him. He's always working out on goddamn Instagram. His phone ain't far from his hands. He's a millionaire, for the love of Pete. He's probably got a social media production team behind him at all times. Somebody couldn't have grabbed a camera, a phone, shot something, emailed it, and been done with it for this, even to kick off the show, to start the show, anything. No, we just get a bunch of old clips or him introducing clips. Hey, this is when I won the title. This was my debut. This is when I... Nope. He didn't care, but we were supposed to. But we were supposed to.
Yeah. Good point, Brian. He didn't give a shit. Why should we give a shit? And finally, our main event, we've got Big E taking on Roman Reigns. This one produced by Michael Hayes.
Now, the only
Fabulous Freebird himself.
The only good thing that can come from this match going into this is... Now, mind you, when I fell asleep from the ladies, they put me out for the night. I didn't wake up until this bitch was over, so I had to go back and watch this one as well. The only good thing for this is that Big E, fresh off of winning his title, becoming the guy, still, I mean, let's be honest, it's still fresh. He's still new to this title scene, is that nothing bad can really happen. Everybody else and their mother's lost to Roman Reigns, right? So you're not new to the thing. You're not new. You're not getting buried. You're not going to lose your title. You're going to go back to your respective show and carry on. So that's the good thing that can happen for Big E. Really, nothing bad can ever happen to Roman Reigns at this point. Whether you like him or hate him, nothing bad can happen to him. He can't be touched. So all the odds were stacked against Big E, is that Roman Reigns can get the win over a big guy, and he can go out there and continue on his tear of being the head of the table. And they're just forcing this down your throat that we're supposed to care about Roman Reigns. And that's pretty much was my prediction going into this match, and continued out to be the results of the match as we move on. But we'll talk about the spots and what it meant in between. But this whole thing was just a setup to keep Roman being the supposed guy.
Right. Very transparent of what the goal of this match was. But like I stated earlier, at least they've had the Usos and Roman Reigns bickering with the New Day and picking on him
Sure.
and stomping on Xavier Woods' crown. So there was an element of investment in this match, of wanting to see Big E take out this fucking idiot. But we all know Roman Reigns wasn't going to lose this match. And just like you stated before, we all know it wasn't going to hurt Big E to lose. I was actually a fan of this match. Most Roman Reigns matches are slow and methodical, and this one started up like that, but actually picked up a little bit, and this actually kept a good pace. I wasn't falling asleep during this match. I know you were out already, but it wasn't this match's fault.
No, this wasn't this match's fault. But nonetheless, when I went back and watched it again, I was thinking the same thing. I'm going, Roman Reigns does the slow, methodical thing. And Big E isn't fast-paced by any means. His moves are explosive and powerful. So when Big E got to get his shit in, it was explosive and powerful, and that was fast. So the offset of the methodical Roman Reigns stalking his prey, the whole thing, when Big E got to explode with a suplex or got to explode with a big clothesline or whatever it is that he's going to hit him with, a spear-type move, those were amazing offsets to what we had been watching. Now, normally in our Roman Reigns matches, you get slow, methodical, and no offense from the other guy. So this one, you got some offense back and forth. You did get some back and forths. So that was enjoyable. That's what made this worth watching, is going, when is Big E going to explode, and when is he going to throw him halfway across the ring with a giant suplex or something?
Exactly. Slow build from Roman, and then a pop from Big E. And that's what kept this thing exciting. Shout out to Big E's athleticism here. At one point, Roman Reigns bouncing off the ropes here. Big E leapfrogs him, and Roman really wasn't bending down at that point. He's probably still about 6 feet in the air, and Big E just completely leapfrogs him. Big E's got hops.
Yeah, Big E's a giant athletic son of a bitch. Like, he is an acrobatic, cow. I mean, he is just like an acrobatic bull.
Like a bull, yeah.
Like, he is just solid, but he's like, you want to see me do a backflip? You're like, all right, cool. Like, you're not supposed to be able to do that stuff. You're a giant, one big muscle. Like, all your muscles are connected. You are one big muscle. So, for him to be able to do the things he can do, man, it's amazing to watch, because he's not supposed to be able to do that.
Big E getting in a little offense here or there, but for the most part, the first part of this match, Roman Reigns is in complete control with his slow and methodical manner. We get to see Big E attempt to splash on the edge of the ring here and completely miss Roman Reigns, and he took that bump flat on his chest and stomach on the hardest part of the ring. I felt for Big E at that moment. That had to knock the shit out of him.
The hardest part of the ring, I don't know, Big E's chest is rock solid. That man he's got breasts. He is again, he's a solid son of a bitch. He might have hurt the ring. Vince is going to take it out of his pay
for days.
Vince is going to take it out of his payday. You bent my ring.
Roman Reigns controlling most of the things, but Big E takes over for a quick moment here with a flurry of power moves, and that is short lived. Roman Reigns hits him with this huge Samoan drop. Seeing Roman Reigns, I know he's strong as a motherfucker, but Big E is 300 pounds of solid muscle. It's like lifting a fucking couch. And somehow Roman Reigns just easily picks him up and hits him with a Samoan drop. And these moves, like you said before, explosive. That's the only way to describe them. Even a simple Samoan drop from Roman Reigns is explosive when Big E's involved.
Well, yeah, I mean, anything to get him up, you have to sell it as explosive, and and it's going to sound explosive when those two giant men hit the mat.
Seeing a stretch muffler from Big E being put on Roman Reigns, with Roman Reigns being a legitimate 6'5", 6'6", is pretty hilarious to see, because Big E's probably 5'10", 6 foot, something like that. He doesn't look too super tall, but keeping Roman Reigns in the air when he's that much taller than you, that was just an entertaining spot to watch. Big E ends up flat on his back, and we go back to the Becky Lynch-Charlotte match. So with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, Becky Lynch flat on her back. Charlotte could pick her up. What is she? Maybe 140 pounds tops. This time, you've got Big E flat on his back. A 300-pound monster. Roman Reigns just picks him right up, slams him right down. Again, explosive.
Explosive, powerful, shows the strength on both ends. This match, these guys really complemented each other well. I didn't know how well it would work. They didn't draw you in by an investment of somebody's going to lose a title or lose something here, because we knew that was off the table, but it just brought you into who's going to be the best guy. So this one can have some investment, because who's going to be your best guy company to company, or who's going to be your ultimate champion. I thought they could have got a little more creative with starting side feuds with either one, so they can leave this pay-per-view looking for what they're going to do for the next storyline, meaning who is Roman going to feud with over on SmackDown. Have that person interfere. Have AJ Styles interfere in this match. I'm just picking a guy that could be the guy, right? I'm not sure who they're going to have him feud with and what's going down. Have AJ Styles interfere. Have somebody from Raw jump in and interfere and help Big E lose, to then go, hey, or get involved in the match somehow and work out the angles of what they're going to do and grow off of this. But they didn't do that. It's not a bad thing they didn't do that. I just thought it was something they could have done, because this match overall did keep my interest. It was just something I thought they could have grown with and changed.
Right. These guys, just their chemistry together was fantastic. Their ability to read the crowd, to read reactions, to build anticipation of, is he actually going to hit this? Is Big E going to get out of it? How can he reverse this one? It was all there. It was like watching a dance, so to speak. These two just worked well together, and they kept you guessing. You didn't know what step was next.
Yeah, I agree.
We get a fuck ton of Superman punches, attempts, and whatnot. Reigns ends up completely whiffing a Superman punch. And again, you expect Big E to turn that into something, but instead Reigns just Johnny on the spot, misses a Superman punch, turns it into a rock bottom, only gets a 2 count on that, though. I thought that would have been a pretty cool spot to end on.
Rock bottom, Survivor Series 25th anniversary. Holy shit. Nope. It keeps on rolling. We keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking with Superman Punch Fest here. 2 successful Superman punches, and Big E's just hulking up at this point. Reigns hits him with a 3rd one and finally keeps the big son of a bitch down for a minute.
The big son of a bitch.
Roman Reigns escapes a big ending to the outside of the ring, and Johnny on the spot. Big E dives right through the middle ropes. It's fun seeing that big bastard dive through the ropes.
Yeah, his dives, for being a big guy, that's one that you love to see, right? We talk about the dives being overdone and shitty, and you get bored of them, but that's one you can watch more often than not, because he's, again, not supposed to do that, but it works. But he can.
We get a spear on Big E for a 2 count, so we're building up here. We got our false finishes coming here. We know the ending is near. Big E escapes out of a Roman Reigns guillotine and ends up hitting a big ending. Another great place where this match could have ended for a win for Big E, but Roman Reigns grabs the rope to break the pin, and I love when Charlotte Flair does it. I love when Roman Reigns does it. It's a great heel way inspired by Ric Flair to break a count and just to annoy the piss out of the audience.
Oh yeah, the rope break done right can be very, very good. Kevin Owens a couple years back at WrestleMania just did the one finger on the rope. Like that was super cocky. Like that was classic. Like you got to love all of that.
And we're ramping up here. We get some frustration from Big E here. He goes ham on Roman Reigns on the outside. He's throwing him into announce tables. He's throwing him into ring posts. He's throwing Roman Reigns into the barricade. Um, Roman flips the script, though, throws Big E through the stairs here. And we know those stairs only weigh 2 pounds. But seeing Big E tumble through them bastards, it's entertaining as all hell.
Not according to Gorilla Monsoon, those stairs weigh 400 pounds of solid steel. And those
solid steel.
Solid.
Not even hollow.
Nope, even when they tip over, we can't admit that they're hollow.
They're filled with clear steel. But we get back in the ring here, and Roman ends up hitting a Superman punch on Big E. We're back in the ring. Big E attempts another big ending, but that is thwarted by Roman Reigns. Instead, Big E catches a spear, and it's a wrap on this match. Roman Reigns gets the 1, 2, 3, just as we anticipated.
Yeah. Anticipated at 100%. Again, Big E does not look bad by losing. It does not worse. Is no worse for the wear for his creative for the rest of his career in as being the champion and the future of him being a champion and everything else that he has going for him. He's gonna pop right back onto Raw, continue where he left off, and be the guy over there for a while, which is just fine. Roman Reigns is they just got to keep shining him up. For whatever reason, it's a long thing happening here. I feel like I'm being long conned with Roman Reigns. I've given up on a while ago, but what are we being sold? Like, when is it going to end?
When they find the right guy, I imagine. I mean, we're all hoping that he finally gets to fight The Rock, but there's no way he's going to job to The Rock because what's the point? It would be a pointless loss.
Yeah, is The Rock going to come back and be in for a year? He'd have to come in for a year and literally be involved on a weekly basis for a year. Or at least monthly at the big pay-per-view shows, right? And I don't see that happening.
Yeah, so that is pointless. So I think we're just waiting at this point. I don't think there's anyone worthy. They've built Roman up so much. They've shoved him down our throat so much. They've made him unbeatable. I hate to compare him to Undertaker, but that's what they're going for here. They're trying to give Roman Reigns Undertaker status here, where nobody can beat this guy. I think they're just searching for the right guy.
I think but Undertaker was not planned. It happened, and it was all right. Timing, perfect place, perfect timing, perfect guy, the whole nine, and then they worked with it. They're just trying to create and capture lightning in a bottle again, and I don't think it's going to happen. You can't force it to happen. They just need to have him and Brock go at it and maybe give Brock the title, and he can show up on SmackDown to help draw the ratings up for national TV or for off of cable and help SmackDown grow that way. But I don't know what the answer is, but I just don't know why eventually I think people are going to stop caring. For me to stop caring or you to stop caring or other, if you will, smart marks that watch those shows, sure, things are going to be different, and you're going to look at it through a different eyes, but eventually, the little kids are going to stop caring too.
It's problematic no matter how you look at it. You got your obvious answers. The Rock would be pointless. Brock Lesnar, they've been working this head of the table gimmick for so long Brock Lesnar will pop ratings, but he's part-time. He's flaky. You never know when he's going to disappear, so there's no point in Brock Lesnar. Who else is there right now?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Not saying that they let go of anybody that was the perspective guy that was like, I can't believe you let them go and they're not going to put the title on them. But you also had a lot of guys that you could have done something with to find out if they were possibly the guy. Because when The Rock debuted 25 years ago, he wasn't the guy. When The Rock retired, he was the guy.
Right.
So you never know who was inside there.
But you're working this head of the table winning streak like Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. You're backing yourself into the corner here where are we going to keep this thing going on forever to where nobody cares? Or are we going to completely end this thing for a guy who isn't going to carry the brand nearly as well as Roman Reigns does?
Yeah, I think they're really shooting themselves in their own foot. Really, getting in their own way. But that was Survivor Series. The egg's still missing as far as I know. They never solved that at Survivor Series. I think it carried over to Raw the following night.
It did carry on to Raw. I didn't watch, but some idiot borrowed it for a selfie. That was the conclusion. And Vince got it back.
Some idiot borrowed it for a selfie. Well, son of a bitch. If you're going to borrow $100 million egg, why not keep it for the night and take a selfie with it and give it back tomorrow? I think that wraps us up. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms. That would be TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and also here live on YouTube every Thursday or Sunday when we decide to record a podcast, and we'll do it live. If you hit the bell, you'll get a notification when we go live. You can hop in the chat. You can toss in some would you rathers for Eric to do live right here. I'll answer them as well. And, make sure you guys do all of those things. Hit the notification bell, share the podcast, give it a rating and a review, and let's have some fun, talk some pro wrestling. Eric, what do you got for us?
I got nothing left, Brian, but for you, Brian Rampa, for the Snooze and Pitbull, Stella Marie, and for myself, all I got to say is, hooty hoo, we out the gates.